What is good, everybody? We are live for this week's edition of the NoDQ review, number 378. I am your moderator for this evening, Papa Gino, and we are joined this week with another all-star panel. We've got our ORM joining us, the always host of our show. Aaron is with us. We've got returning now Evan, and we've got returning Song and Jeff. So I'm going to throw it around and see how we're all doing. Evan, how you doing today?
Good. Great to be back with you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing some criticism of the wrestling that we watch, because some of the promotions are a little hypersensitive to it, so it'll be interesting.
Well, we're happy to hear what you have to say, and we'll get to more of that here in a moment. Jeff, how are you doing today? I see that you're not on a scooter. Hopefully that might change.
Next week maybe. Dealing with a little strep throat right now, so that's always fun. But I could not miss the NoDQ review if I'm home and able to do it. So here I am battling through thanks to a homemade medicine ball remedy, and let's get it going while my voice holds out.
Perfect. Well, I think our definition of fun differs a little bit, but if that's fun for you, we appreciate you being on and joining us. We've got Song here. Song, how you doing today?
Hey everybody, Son Goshoku here, ready for a rare appearance not after a WWE PLE. So I'm ready to talk the road to WrestleMania because, things are getting quite interesting. Now, whether you like that or not, I guess we're going to find out today. But yeah, glad to be here, gentlemen.
Absolutely. We got an opinionated group of gentlemen here today. And speaking of opinionated, our ORM wearing his Troll Slayer shirt. How are you doing, Virtue?
Good. I'm here. I don't have to moderate. And if 8 o'clock hits and we're lingering, I can hit the button because I'm not moderating. So I love these weeks. And since Big G's not here, let's get the ball rolling, baby.
Awesome. Yeah, we hope you don't have to, hit a swanton bomb on that end button, but we'll see what happens.
Not on last week, so we got lucky. Aaron, of course, it sucks for Aaron when he's not here. But
absolutely. And speaking of Aaron, our faithful leader, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm looking forward to this panel. What a lineup we got tonight. I love this lineup. Should be a fun one. Now, for those of you that don't know, Jeff Meacham works at the House of Mouse at Disneyland, and the running joke with him is that he likes to ride the scooter while he's doing the live streams when he's going around Disneyland. Big G's not here this week, so no adventures of Big G and Jeff Jarrett, but I have a replacement 20-second AI clip. This week, it's the adventures of Jeff Meacham on a scooter.
Hey everyone, I'm at Disneyland and I'm about to hop on my scooter for a ride. Here we go, riding down Main Street. Look at the castle up ahead. This is amazing. The energy here is electric. Woohoo, this is living.
That's why the voiceover is partially in my head apparently because I'm actually mouthing the words.
dude, Aaron, how did you have him crash?
We got to do a crash for the next video. Stay tuned.
I've watched Jeff Meacham on NoDQ since 2009. I've never heard you speak like that.
The voiceover's in my head. There we go. We're kicking it off great. Oh Lord,
and with all due respect, we know that Jeff can ride a stand-up scooter. It had him on one of those traditional Disney World scooters that are, for people who maybe aren't the best at mobility. But with that said, we are going to move right along to our first topic. Now, some people might say that this is going to be the new most important championship in WWE, with it being the night 2 main event of WrestleMania. At least all signs are pointing to that way. We have CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. And, last week, not last night, but last week, CM Punk had some, dare I say, heelish words in his promo towards the tribal chief, mentioning his late father, and it was picked up again last night, not with Roman Reigns being in attendance, surprise, surprise, but the Usos came to defend their uncle's honor. And it got me thinking, and I can't wait to hear what our panelists have to say and what you guys have to say in the live chat and in the comment section if you're watching on demand. Now, they're obviously both faces, but more tweener faces. I'm interested to see, like, whose side are we on? Not necessarily who do we want to win, but with CM Punk disrespecting the bloodline, but then making some very good points that all of us have addressed on the review over the last couple of years about Roman Reigns not apologizing to particularly Jey Uso for his treatment of his family and things like that. Does that get CM Punk off the hook for the dastardly things that he said about their family, but also the respectful things he's mentioned as well? I look forward to hearing your thoughts. And you mentioned it at the top, Evan, your criticism of the stuff. So I'm going to throw it right over to you. Whose side are you on, or can you just be completely missed with this match and looking forward to other things?
CM Punk is one of the greatest promos in the business and maybe in the history of the business. And he could put over anything, and you have to enjoy watching him and listening to him. I think the problem at this point is the whole bloodline thing peaked several years ago when Cody beat Reigns, and they just beat it to death. It's endless. It's endless, and it's like beating a dead horse. And I don't have a lot of emotional investment in it. I just want to see a great match, which they're both capable of on the right night. But in my gut, I go, oh, the Usos are going to run in and 10 other guys are going to run in and they're going to kill the match dead. So, again, I just want to see a great match. And hopefully this is what it will all lead to, because otherwise it's just talk and more talk and more talk. And when they promote Raw, it's about who's addressing who rather than seeing great wrestling. So as an old school fan, I just want to see great wrestling.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Now, I've got some bad news for you, because it doesn't seem like the bloodline is ending anytime soon with Naomi being pregnant. We're probably going to have this bloodline thing go on pretty much indefinitely. As long as they keep procreating, I think that they're going to find that an easy way to do the storytelling. But you mentioned it. If Roman has this interference again to retain or win the championship, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't forgotten. So I look forward to hearing what you guys think about all this. Jeff, I'm going to throw it over to you now. Whose side are you on? Is Roman Reigns right in this because he was disrespected, but he doesn't really show up? Is CM Punk right because he has some respectful things to say, but also, dastardly things, but he shows up every week? What do you think?
I think up until last night's Raw, I was definitely in the camp of Roman Reigns, because it was completely, borderline blasphemous when you talk about disrespecting the Wild Samoans, especially, Offensico passed away. But Punk made a lot of good points last night on Raw, as far as, everybody's so wound up on him, but Roman's not apologized for anything that happened in those, whatever it was, 4 or 5 years since the start of the bloodline story. So I guess I haven't made my decision yet, but I am very much looking forward to it. And I liked your point, about maybe they're trying to put a little more oomph on the World Heavyweight Championship, because we all remember that championship started because Roman Reigns wasn't on TV every week, wasn't defending the championship regularly during those 4 years, which is why the World Heavyweight Championship was created. So for me, I like that they're putting emphasis on that championship, but for me, it feels like it's not really about the title now, because both of them have disrespected each other on a personal level, that the title, almost even now being in the final match of night 2, still feels like the secondary point of contention below their personal beef with each other. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out on whatever it is, April 19th. For now, I'm looking forward to the ride, and I wasn't looking forward to a lot of this road to WrestleMania because it didn't feel like it was the road to WrestleMania before the last 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you very much, Cactus Jeff. We appreciate that very much. And we're going to go ahead and throw it on over to Song. welcome back again. We look forward to hearing what you think. Like Jeff said, like Evan said, there are some good points, but maybe this is a little played out. I mean, finally, Roman Reigns is challenging for a world heavyweight or a WWE championship again. He lost it, never had a rematch, seemed to not care. Maybe that was to promote Jay and his run and things like that. But we're going to have another couple of weeks, almost more than a month right now for building to this. What do you think is going to happen? Whose side are you on? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Well, got quite a bit to say about this. And one thing that I always really love when it comes to storytelling is when both characters make good points and you're like, he's right. But he's not exactly wrong either. And that's what I really like about the dynamic of this. First, I will say, as far as bringing in deceased relatives, I do think Roman Reigns and CM Punk are more talented than that. You go back to my favorite, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. They had some really all-time classic promos, and it was basically based on stuff of Rock just basically thinking Stone Cold was some redneck, and the Austin wanting The Rock to get serious about cutting his nursery rhymes. Completely fictional stuff, but it entertains you so much, and I feel that Roman Reigns and CM Punk can absolutely do that, just basically relying on their history wrestling-wise. But since they are going that deep and they are going to say these heinous things, CM Punk absolutely last night brought up some really good points. Roman Reigns never did apologize, but everybody ended up making amends with him, and I think that's because Roman's character comes off as someone who, they're not going to say sorry, but you see it in their actions, and Roman more than enough, I think, in his actions have proven that it feels sorry or maybe regret. You look at back how he went with Jey Uso when he became world title. He put his shoulder on and he said, "Hey, I'm proud of you." Yeah, he didn't say I'm sorry, but you could see that that's his way of saying that, he is sorry for how he treated Jey Uso. And they were able to get back onto good terms. So I do like that in the storyline. CM Punk, all he really had to do last night was tell Jimmy and Jay, I'm sorry, but this has nothing to do with you. It's all about Roman. But he just couldn't do that and ended up getting pushed on his butt by Jimmy and Jay. Shout out to Jimmy, by the way. I thought he was fantastic on the microphone. Would love to hear him talk more on the microphone. So it is a really interesting story. And as far as the story in general, this is the best analogy I can come up with it. If you all remember the Hit 'Em Up that Tupac made his diss track against Biggie, he came up with some really heinous things to say towards the end of that. There's a meme where I see these girls, they first start off really like happy and dancing because they're backup singers for Tupac. They're saying the phrase, "make money," and they're so happy. And I feel like that's what the fans are like. They're like, CM Punk, and OTC. And then CM Punk brings up the line about his deceased father, and I feel that that's like in the song Hit 'Em Up when Tupac starts getting into some real dastardly stuff, and in the meme you see the girls, they start dancing slowly, they look a little concerned. I feel like people are going to be like, okay, I'm still for CM Punk, but that was wrong. And Roman's probably coming back and going to come after CM Punk's deceased loved ones, and they're like, okay, I'm with OTC, but it's getting a little uncomfortable. And by the end of the song, this meme, these girls, when CM Punk, when Tupac just goes real crazy and just says the most heinous stuff possible, they like, we're out. And I wonder if by the time we get to right where WrestleMania is, are the fans gonna be like, I like CM Punk, I like Roman, but we got to be quiet now because we can't get down with what they're saying. Is WWE using this storyline to make everyone feel as uncomfortable as possible with the heinous stuff they're gonna go? So I'm gonna be interested to see what side do the fans pick. So right now, I am leaning more though towards CM, probably Roman Reigns, because he's not the one who's bringing up deceased relatives in the storyline. So that's why I find it interesting about this story.
You're absolutely right. He hasn't brought up any deceased family members yet, but like Matthew mentioned in the chat, CM Punk lost his dog Larry, and I'm sure we're going to see something like that. But to me, these two guys are better than like almost needing to stoop this low, right? The bringing up of anyone deceased, like, do we really need that to get cheap heat for the match? Like, you can't use "I'm the best in the world, you're the longest reigning modern champ." Like, we can't use the facts of what's already been going on. Obviously there's a lot of time to build towards that, but like, where do you go from here if you're mentioning not only a deceased relative, his father? So it's like, that's very difficult. And you mentioned, Jimmy on the mic. I do think he's better than Jay. But neither the Usos don't seem to be getting an apology from either CM Punk or Roman Reigns. We'll see if that changes, or if that's going to be the new Ula Fala for them, is receiving an apology maybe after the match at WrestleMania. Yes, Song.
One more thing too, and WWE is no stranger at doing this with CM Punk. Go back to 2013. Instead of having CM Punk talk about how he just came off this big world title reign, and this is why he is more qualified to defeat the Undertaker streak, they say, screw that, we're just going to use the real life death of Paul Bearer and build the entire story around it. So WWE is they have no issues doing this with CM Punk. They did it before, now they're doing it again.
Absolutely. And in WWE history, if it worked, they're going to beat it to death trying to make it work again. Now, Virtue, I see your ears peaked up when he mentioned the Paul Bearer stuff. You've traditionally been on Roman Reigns' side. I'm curious to see how you feel about this moving forward, going into this storyline and the amount of build we have. What do you think about all this stuff going on so far?
Well, so FFS, Roman Reigns doesn't owe anybody, the character doesn't owe anybody an apology. Right, leading the bloodline, having people help him win matches. That was the gimmick. Like, that's the mafia, that's the mob. You have your henchmen. Like, there needs to be no apology. Okay, it's low-hanging fruit when they have to use the deaths, but it also is still tribute to make the father part of the storyline. Like, old school wrestlers, they want to always be mentioned, even if they're not here. They would be fine with this. Okay, especially the Samoans. But I don't want to necessarily see Reigns use the dog, because first of all, it's a dog, right? Whatever, Punk was close to it. He doesn't have kids. I get it. But I would rather see Reigns basically tell Punk, you've only been in your dream WrestleMania main events, now 2 coming up here in a row, because of one common denominator, and that is me. I would rather see Reigns focus on that and throw that into Punk's face and use that as his crutch. And then he's going to say, and it's all going to come to a crashing halt, because once I beat you, you're never going to get back to that spot again. So enjoy this. Enjoy it while it lasts. That's what Roman Reigns needs to do. I don't need to see talk about a dog, or he doesn't need to apologize to anybody. He just needs to say he's the best. He's the reason Punk is there, even though he's got that title, right? Reigns wins the Royal Rumble. The title match isn't always the night 2 main event, and hopefully that's the case with Roman, and it should be. And if they go with that, just have Roman basically tell Punk, you're here because of me. That's simple. Let's get to the match, and then they can have a great match. And hopefully we don't really get many run-ins or anything like that. Let's just have them have a one-on-one match, and have Reigns go over, of course. So yeah, Team Reigns. I mean, that's silly, Gino, that you would even ask me that question. Like, I like CM Punk, but I don't think he's ever been my favorite. Like, even prior to Reigns' run, Jericho was my guy. You know what I mean? So back when they feuded, Punk always beat Jericho. So Roman Reigns, 100%. No apologies needed.
Absolutely. And you mentioned some of the realistic stuff that's been happening in the storylines that could be used as fuel for this feud, right? Like, he could have mentioned you've buried superstars instead of I'll bury you next to your whatever. Now this is going to address, he could even say things like, well, you've never won a title match recently clean, though it was fair in Bloodline rules and things like that. We had that clean versus fair debate about a year ago or so. So all these things he can bring into it, and I really appreciate that. I didn't think you were going to betray your tribal chief, but definitely wanted to poke the bear and see if we could find something in there worth turning on him for. Maybe he's not there so often. You were a Gunther guy.
Punk was at his best when he was feuding with Vince McMahon. That's the Punk that I miss, that I liked, 2012, 2013-ish. So again, minus that, Punk's always been like, one of my favorites, but not like the top 2. So I'm glad he's in a main event. Not two years in a row. Hopefully he gets night 2. But like I said, common denominator, Roman Reigns.
Absolutely. The ultimate needle mover. Yes, Jeff.
I just want to say the promo that Virtue sent us in the group chat, whatever it was, a few years ago, of Punk just laying into Vince and
Oh,
like
that-
late 20. I have that saved in my bookmarks. It was just so it tore him to pieces. It was such a great
favorite promo
segment.
of all
So,
time. Yep.
yep.
And, we do miss a little bit of that even being possible because we don't really have these on-screen heel authority figures to kind of really dig home to. We all know Triple H, the doofus son-in-law, according to Punk, is behind the scenes, but he's not really involved, even though he would like you to believe that he's involved in everything because he's in all the promos and then this and then that. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm going to throw it over to Aaron and the super chats, but Aaron, what do you think? I mean, it's kind of out of pocket, little low hanging fruit by CM Punk, but he also does have some good points. Would you want to see them go battle it out over what they've done on screen, or is bringing this personal stuff into it, just like the way they do things in the modern era?
We got 5 weeks left until WrestleMania. There's still plenty of time to build up the storyline, and they need to come up with some ideas to keep people interested. They can't just have them come out there and say, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. They really have to dive a little bit deeper with 5 weeks of television to get to WrestleMania to keep it interesting. I'm liking what they're doing so far, and I do feel that the best storytelling in wrestling is when you can blend real life with fiction and you wonder, was that meant to be said or not? That's what I love about this storyline. Are they crossing a line? Obviously it's all a work, but if even 1% of it makes you think, wait a minute, was that part of the script or not? Then I think they're doing an effective job with their storytelling. Yes, it is low-hanging fruit, but at the end of the day, these two have a lot of bad blood. They hate each other, and they are going to try and break the other one mentally. And they will do whatever it takes to get to that point. The question is, will Roman Reigns fire back with the comment about CM Punk's dog, Larry? That's what I'm waiting for. There is one little issue, though, that I have, and I'm wondering, last week when Roman Reigns was standing in the ring, CM Punk made that comment, and then Roman Reigns just stood there, and then he doesn't even show up on the next show. You would think he'd be right there to get in CM Punk's face, and he's just coming back next week. So it doesn't really come off like he's that fazed by it. We'll see what he says next week, but it's a little strange to me that he didn't show up there. As far as which side I'm on, I think you can make arguments for either guy. I think each one has valid points about why the other one is wrong and why they're the number one guy, and you could just pick your favorite. I'm with Evan. I just want to see a great match at WrestleMania. No bullshit, no run-ins from all these other guys. I just want to see them go at it and have there be a clean-cut winner and let them tear the house down and have the best possible match in the main event spot at WrestleMania. So if they can do that, then whatever the buildup is, so be it. But let's get to the super chats here. I'm kind of torn. I just want a great match. I don't really care if Roman Reigns wins or CM Punk wins. I just want a great match. Although if Roman does win, I would like to see him be around and not just show up every month or so. Like, he needs to be somewhat regular if he's going to be winning that match at WrestleMania. That's my only take on that. All right, let's get to the super chats. Psycho Jet Black is back after an absence last week. He says, why does Gino look like a 1990s sports analyst? Gino, you do it on purpose?
I wasn't necessarily going for 1990s sports analyst, but trying to bring back the style when I am moderating, I think, is where I want to be with that. Noah's not here, so it's also an homage to Noah, who is the best dressed man on the internet. And, a lot of us here could be sportscasters, have done stuff in the radio business, stuff like that. So, it's just kind of pulling everything together, a little aggregate.
Noah is definitely the best dressed person to be on a wrestling live stream that I've ever seen. He's always decked out nicely. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat, says, the quote, a certain someone, hi guys, I had some personal stuff to deal with last week, but I'm back now. And do you see CM Punk turning heel at WrestleMania? I feel like he's not turning. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but I sense he's not going to go there. I would love heel CM Punk, though. Like, him as a total a-hole, I'd be all for it. But
in Punk, he's got to be smart enough to look at the past. Like, this is something perfect for a promo right in Roman's face. hey, last time I was here in the company, it was people like me and Daniel Bryan getting pushed and or being the champion in the main events. I leave and look what happens. They reverted to you, and how well did that go? Seriously, it's that simple. That simple.
Yes,
Well,
Gene.
Roman,
Just to add to that, I'm not sure if this is the first week or the second week, but CM Punk was wearing a Seattle is the best in the world shirt. So he's now taking that from Cena, where a different shirt's going to be made for every city, and to sell as much merch as possible, you're probably going to want him to be a face coming out of WrestleMania.
The thing is, though, if CM Punk turned heel, people would just cheer him anyways.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no point at this time. All right, we got one here from Jeremy Dorset. Thank you, Jeremy. Says, I'm used to having WrestleMania around the end of March or the first week of April. This year, it feels like it's an eternity, but I'll get over it. I agree. I remember the early WrestleManias being in March. Very rarely were they in April. I think the latest would be like April 1st or 2nd. So, yeah, they're pushing it further and further. It just doesn't feel right to me. WrestleMania always felt like a March show. And also the Royal Rumble, you had 2 months until WrestleMania, and now we're stretching it out to 3. So I kind of like the fact that the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania were relatively close to each other. Son?
Yeah, I mean, it is a much longer build-up for sure, but ironically, if Braun Breaker is able to make it back in time, then there's a plus right there, because had they stuck with the original format, Braun may have been just a little too off. Yeah, I think it would have gone just right past the time, but they're saying that he might be available maybe the last 2 weeks. We got to see, but I'm like, it will work out in that favor if this extra WrestleMania build-up time allows Braun Breaker to come back and have that match with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Gino.
And I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it was at Money in the Bank last year where they announced that WrestleMania was no longer going to be in New Orleans, but was going to be in Vegas. And usually it's not that close to the actual event. So my guess is they couldn't get it booked, the arena or whatever they need booked in Vegas at the time frame they want. So they took the next available date after that. And that's probably why we're having this big gap. I am shocked that there's going to be no Saturday night main event plugged in, especially to counter program AEW this weekend, like we know they like to do.
Yeah, Evan.
I think it's good that they have the longer build, because they only have 3 or 4 matches that matter that's, in the books already. So they have extra time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like they just throw it, they just throw it down on a piece of paper at the last second and add the undercard. This way you could have more matches that you actually care about, that have some storyline and substance to it. It'll make for a better show. And they're saying that there's probably going to be a dozen plus matches. So they do have a lot more to build to.
Right. My fear, though, is that they're still going to just throw together a bunch of matches last minute. It's like they have all this time and they won't even use it to make people care about matches.
Oh, they'll make a big storyline out of the Bellas wanting to go for the tag titles.
Well, they better get moving here. Jeff?
To go further on with the point that was made earlier about Breaker, it's, if they're hoping on him coming back in time, that's probably why they're dragging out this Rollins thing and why he didn't say a word last night. So, they're probably hoping for a lot of things, but I agree with you. They're not gonna they're gonna like take those last 2 weeks once we know for sure if Breaker's coming back, and they're just gonna like throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, son.
And I could be wrong about this, because obviously I'm as much of a sports guy as you are, Aaron, but isn't it something sports related that they did not want to compete with, which is why they've now moved it to the middle? Because wasn't this a Nick Khan decision, I think?
Final 4.
Oh, okay, there it is. Right.
My thing real quick about the Final Four and March Madness, if it leaks out of March, which it seemingly does every single year when they don't start it until mid-March, you might as well just start it in March and end it in March and then have it be March Madness. I'm off my soapbox. Next question.
There you go. All right. We got some more super chats here. Psycho Jet Black sent in $5. Virtue's done at 8. He says, imagine CM Punk bringing up Baron Corbin and the dog food or the suffering succotash promo, and then Roman Reigns bringing up Colt Cabana, brawl out, and choking Jack Perry. I wish they would bring up AEW. Like that would make me interested if CM Punk was out there and Roman Reigns mention Jack Perry or mention the Young Bucks or Tony Khan. Like I'd find that very interesting. I feel
There's
like
a great callback opportunity, Aaron. The last time we saw CM Punk in AEW, he was walking up the ramp, throwing up the one, like almost acknowledging Roman Reigns. He could totally throw that into the promo if you really wanted to dive into it.
Above all that, I'd love Punk to say, so Roman, the only reason why you got to where you are is because you were one of Vince McMahon's boys. Bring up Vince McMahon. Say the name.
Yes.
Say the name. Get that heat. Get Roman get Roman with the confused look on his face.
I love that.
Yes, son.
Yeah, I would say obviously Tony Khan, Triple H aren't going to work together, but I think it would be hilariously epic if they did a segment where Roman Reigns, he didn't show up, and that's because he decided to go ahead and sit down with the Bucks and the Elite just to talk about CM Punk, and you'd be like, oh crap. But while I know Tony Khan wouldn't mind the publicity, doubt WWE wants to go that far.
No,
but they get people talking.
Be fun.
But I feel like they're only going to do so much. They're going to maybe do slightly above the bare minimum as far as trying to sell people on this. But man, that would definitely get people talking if they went that route.
Plus, that would probably kind of go against what we've been talking about, how keep it towards their careers as opposed to the real life stuff, because that stuff didn't even go into AEW's own storylines.
What I would love is the go home show. Like, you want your hype to peak right before WrestleMania, like that final segment on the go home. We got like some kind of a pipe bomb, like somebody says something that is like completely off limits and nobody's expecting it. I think of that 2011 CM Punk pipe bomb and how that broke the internet. Like, what could they say that would actually break the internet 5 days or 6 days before WrestleMania? Like, that's what I would like to see.
Dude, and I want it to be Roman that does it. And I want Roman to be the one that does it, sitting Indian style in the middle of the ring.
Yes, bring up Tony Khan, bring up AEW, like 6 days before WrestleMania, and that is your final setup. And everybody's like, holy shit, what's CM Punk going to do now? We got to tune in to WrestleMania this Sunday.
When John Cena did it, I thought it was one of John Cena's best heel promos last year.
I agree. No, that was great. So hopefully they can do something and they have something up their sleeves for that go-home show, because that's what's really going to sell people, is that final segment before WrestleMania, rather than just the final back and forth. I'm going to beat you. No, I'm going to beat you, blah, blah, blah.
Roman looking at the camera and go, hi, John.
There you go. All right, we got one here from Jeremy Dorset, who sent in a $5 super chat. He says, I picked Roman Reigns beating CM Punk to win the World Heavyweight title, hashtag Team Roman, and Randy Orton beating Cody Rhodes for the WWE title, hashtag RKO. So there you go. He's on Team Roman, and we will be talking about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes here in just a few moments. Jeremy is going with Randy, but will Cody lose it that quickly? Stay tuned. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Says, imagine Danhausen putting a curse on Roman Reigns, and Roman responds by beating the tar out of him harder than The Rock beating Mankind with that chair. Do you guys think Roman would turn heel if he attacked Danhausen? Would he get booed for that?
No.
What do you guys think? No?
No.
They would go ballistic.
Yeah, they would.
They would still like Danhausen, but they would love to see him like respond in kind to being cursed, where everybody else, he just disappears on him. Roman's like, like Superman to Batman when Batman disappeared. No, I'm fast enough to stop you from getting away, type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Son.
Honestly, I'd rather see Danhausen put a curse on Brock Lesnar, and the fans be like, oh, Danhausen's getting his butt kicked, and then Obafemi comes out, and then he beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and Danhausen can come out and be like, you see, I told you were cursed, and now that people know Brock can get cursed, there you go. That'd be great.
I like that. Let's slow it down and have Danhausen just curse mid-carders. Come on, let's not get ourselves down. Like, if you're going to curse one main eventer, that's down the road, and it's one guy, you pick the one guy, you're going to do it. Maybe. But have him do what he's doing now with the mid-card guys.
Yeah, I mean, my only fear with Danhausen is that they're going to like overexpose him, and the shtick is going to get old if they just keep doing it every single week. So, the curses every now and then I think will be entertaining, but I feel like with WrestleMania, they're not going to get him involved in these main event storylines. They're going to keep it serious for CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
They
And
need to
Cody.
keep Danhausen as far away from the top of the card as possible until like this time next year. I liked it. I like the gimmick. I think it's funnier than hell. But yeah, nowhere near the top of the card for at least a long while.
Yeah, I mean, it's not getting played out, but last night was the weakest of the 3 curses, in
Yes.
my opinion. So, like, I hope they don't Joe Hendry this where they beat it into the ground and then it becomes not funny and not, effective anymore.
That's how WWE does things. They take an idea and they just run it into the ground. They squeeze every last dollar they can get out of it until it's
Burn it down.
completely.
Hey, I'll say this as someone who wasn't familiar with Danhausen, even with him in AEW. I think the way WWE has utilized him actually has, for me, been more enjoyable. It's like, okay, I guess I'm getting more of Danhausen, and I'm getting the hilariousness of him cursing, and then it actually coming back to bite the heels in the butt. So far, I think WWE's done a more effective job for someone like me who wasn't that familiar with him even before AEW.
I hope they do end up putting him with The Miz. I think that you could get a lot of humor out of that without being overtly comedic. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, they should do some vignettes like with The Miz and Danhausen, like in a training room in a wrestling ring, trying out some stuff, and they could go to WWE headquarters and do that kind of stuff with Danhausen for a while.
They should put him with Mr. Iguana. Those are 2 like straight up comedy characters, and
I'm sure he will. I'm sure they'll have
to be funny together.
All right, we got a couple more here. We got Dave Scheffler, who sent in $5. Thank you, Dave Scheffler. Dave says, I agree with Aaron that if Roman wins, I hope he's around a little bit more. As long as it's a good match, I'm good with either winning. There you go. We'll see. I mean, I'm not convinced Roman is winning because I just don't know if he's going to commit to a somewhat full-time schedule. But, hey, who knows? Anything's possible, right? So maybe he will stick around after WrestleMania. Maybe he does win and just doesn't show up that often and just does the same old routine. I don't know. And he's WWE World Champion. I don't know.
They ain't losing 3 WrestleManias in a row. Sorry, pal.
Hard to bet against Roman. That is what we like to say here on the channel. All right, we got one here from Psycho Jet Black. He says, imagine Roman Reigns and CM Punk recreating the tug of war image. If you remember that, I feel sorry for you. I really do.
I didn't until right now, so thank you, Psycho.
Yes, thanks for reminding us of that. That was the go-home episode of Raw, I believe, before WrestleMania 31. The tug of war with Roman and Brock Lesnar. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, is Jeff Meacham going to jump off Hell in a Cell like Mick Foley?
No.
AI. New AI idea.
Yes.
AI probably, but not for real. No.
I believe he was pushed. Yeah, Virtue.
Have Undertaker throw him over, yeah.
I'm going to get going
Virtue
on that.
Taker throws over Cactus Jeff.
There you go. I'm here for it.
All right, Jeremy Dorset sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Jeremy says, I remember CM Punk's pipe bomb. I watched it live on Raw and on demand YouTube the entire week on YouTube leading up to Money in the Bank 2011. That was an all-time classic segment. As I've said many times over the years, it broke the site. Like I never really had the site crash from traffic like that night. It was intense.
It is the only time Aaron's called me at a show going, what the hell is going on? Because I was in Vegas and he had no idea what had happened.
It's been crazy. Longer since the pipe bomb than it was from when the pipe bomb happened to the Attitude Era. Think about that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Time's flying.
Hey,
and it also had that air of Bret Hart, like taking the championship and going home type stuff too. So the build beyond the pipe bomb was a legendary build into that Money in the Bank. Too bad he came back a week later and kind of made it a little underwhelming, but nobody talks about that. So.
Hey, I was at that show live, and when I first heard, my friends like, I got tickets, let's go to Money in the Bank 2011. I'm like, okay, I don't get to see WWE that much. And then that pipe bomb drop, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm going. And the greatest crowd atmosphere I've ever been a part of with CM Punk and John Cena in that match, man. The only thing that topped it was when CM Punk came back in 2023 Survivor Series, and I was there for that too.
Wow.
Damn, you, man.
Yeah.
All right, we got one here from EDM7324. Son, you can do a better impression. If you don't subscribe to NoDQ,
You will be Cass. At least I think that's how his voice sounds.
Yeah, say you are cursed.
Oh, you are Cass. I think so.
All right,
Like I said, I barely knew Danhausen even before AEW.
all right, Jeremy Dorset sent in a $5 super chat.
Nice.
Thank you for that, Jeremy. It says, if they turn Cody Rhodes heel at WrestleMania, the Cody Crybabies will riot.
Okay.
I'm gonna step in here for Virtue so he doesn't have to. The Cody Crybabies robbed us of the biggest dream match that could actually have happened in the history of wrestling in the modern era. And at this point, it does not look like we will ever get He Who Shall Not Be Named versus Roman Reigns ever. So, and now that with Cody being thrust into the main event every single year after that, they could have waited one more year on Cody.
Yeah. Well, the Cody Crybabies, they think that people were buying YouTube dislikes for the video of Cody winning the WWE title. So those Cody Crybabies, they are quite the interesting bunch. But we'll talk about Cody more in just a few moments. We got one more here from EDM 7324, and then we'll get to our main event involving Cody. How far does the curse from Danhausen go? Is he going to lose Liv Morgan? Dominic going to lose Liv Morgan, or will we have more matches where people are losing? I don't think it'll go past the mid-card level. I don't think they're going to be cursing Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and that sort of thing. Mostly lower to mid-card guys. Jeff?
Well, no, I think he means how far is he going to take it with Dom himself. And I think Dom loses to Finn Balor whenever they have their match, whether it's Mania or whatever, but I don't think it'll go beyond that.
Yeah, and then him and Liv break up, and Dom's life is just spiraling.
Yeah,
I feel like he's gonna move away from Dominic. I feel like he's going to do something with The Miz, most likely.
No, okay.
I think they're just testing the waters right now to see like where he fits in best. I think Miz is the best option at this point, but they might try a few other scenarios and then go in a clear-cut direction with Danhausen. All right, we got one more here from Psycho Jet Black. He says, imagine buying YouTube likes for an EC3 match. There's another name from the past, EC3. Why do you have to bring him up, Psycho Jet Black? We all forgot about him. We moved on, and then you have to mention EC3. What's next? Bart Gunn? You're going to mention Bart Gunn on us?
Can we please get to the main event, Christ?
Papagino, take it away.
And
I don't know, Virtue's
now
been cursing these
our main event of the evening. We had a good super chat, 2 chats back. That would have been a great segue, but we are going to go into it now. Cody Crybabies, they have a time. They are rejoicing after Friday night SmackDown. He regained the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre. Thanks again to interference and all this stuff. But this is the second title change, WWE title change on SmackDown this calendar year alone. So you kind of can't be missing these shows, especially when the title matches are on the card. However, you could argue that wasn't the right move. Now, some people will say the only reason Drew won is because Cody thought he's better in the chase and wanted to, have a little break of his monotonous title run. Now he's a 3-time WWE champion, and all signs point to a singles match between him and Randy Orton, which we've had before, but not with the WWE Championship involved. I've been told and asked by Aaron not to request this, but I'm going to request it. It better lead to a darn Cody Rhodes heel turn. I want to see Cody Homelander. I want to see him being like, I'm the best. Everything I want is going to happen, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to throw it around to the panelists, and I'm going to start off with Virtue. Virtue, was this the right decision going into WrestleMania season, regifting the loser of the Royal Rumble, the loser of Elimination Chamber, a championship match on SmackDown, even though in his contract with Drew, Cody was not supposed to be eligible for that title match. And they mentioned, well, you went against your word, I'm going to go against my word. Well, it wasn't your word, Nick. It was in the contract. Virtue, take it away.
Dude, it's funny that as we're starting to talk about Cody Rhodes, I see our live viewers are dropping to 41. What WrestleMania did Cody win? Did he finish his story? 41?
I think it was 40?
40, 41. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, because it's 42 this year. It's just ridiculous that they have to do that. Like usually, see, if you don't win the Royal Rumble or you don't win an Elimination Chamber match, you should have no opportunity at the world title till after WrestleMania. So Cody should have to wait, and getting thrown in there as a multiple person match, but like Drew was the champion and he still had the title up till after 2 pay-per-views leading into WrestleMania, PLEs, and now he's not the champion. That's the stupidest logic. They panicked for whatever reason, thinking they needed to have, I don't know, Orton and Cody to sell tickets, that Cody needed to be in that main event. Triple H struggles to properly book Cody Rhodes. I know he finished the story that one year, but he already had him win the Royal Rumble when The Rock was able to face Roman Reigns in the Dream match, and so it's been convoluted. Maybe it's the curse of the Cody crybabies, and anytime Cody's involved, there's some portion of the fans that just aren't happy about it. Good for Orton to get back in another main event at WrestleMania, but like Drew should be there, and the fact that he's not, he's probably gonna have a match, but he worked so hard, and the title's just a prop, right? But like with Drew, I think it really meant something because when he had it the first time, COVID happened and just didn't have that live crowd. Then he finally got it, the main WWE title, and hey, plans change. It's not going to be Rock or Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania. Drew's McIntyre's in the equation, and now we sit where we sit. So it kind of sucks. I mean, Drew gets paid either way. He's still making his big contract, probably 7 figures. So he's still getting paid no matter who he wrestles at WrestleMania. It sucks. Like, he should have been champion going in, and I'm sure he would have been fine to get pinned and beat and put someone over at WrestleMania to give them the title. But it sucks. I'm pro Drew in this case, and it seems like Cody should be a heel. Like, he's just always, like, something with him is always happening, like it's forced. Like, you have to finish your story. You have to be the champion. You have to be QB1. I'd rather see Stardust.
Well, there's a hot take for everybody. Thank you so much, Virtue. Yes, and by that logic, Finn should have had to wait too, but I won't mention any more about Finn.
Why? No, I say that not as a joke. You know why I would rather see Stardust, even though Cody hates that? Because at least when he had to play that, he had to be creative. Remember those interviews he had backstage with Michael Cole? He had to at least go outside the box and be a little creative, even though it sucked and it was mid-card hell. With Cody, QB1, you don't have to be creative. You just get booked to win the title and hold it. Sucks.
Yeah. And, he did have a guest starring appearance on the Arrow TV show, and he had what I thought was an underrated match with Stephen Amell, who does not get enough credit for being able to go in the ring. Everybody talks Bad Bunny and Logan Paul. Stephen Amell deserves respect in that category.
Gino.
Yes, sir.
Think about this. It just dawned on me. Cody's going to be the WWE champion after WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, if he's the world champion. What movie comes out late next summer?
Street Fighter.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
The promotion for Street Fighter.
I'm just going to, just move on or I'll be here all night. I only got till 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we don't want him to hit a people's elbow on the leave button before we are done, so we will move on now to Son. Son, what do you think about all this? I mean, I'm glad we had Drew McIntyre at least with the championship instead of Cody holding it this whole time. So are we supposed to just be gracious fans that they gave that to us and then they're reverting back, or should Drew have had it going into WrestleMania? People thought he was going to lose to Sammy at Royal Rumble, which would have been within a month of him gaining it. So people knew he was on borrowed time. Son, take it away.
Yeah, about Drew, Virtue made great points. You just made great points. And as someone who's been a fan of Drew McIntyre, like, I was a fan since day one when he walked out and Vince McMahon called him the chosen one. I was like, this guy just seems like a star. He looks like a star. I'm like, this is main eventer. And obviously it took him a while to get there, but he made it there nonetheless. So as a Drew McIntyre fan, I am thankful that we finally got to see him win the world title in front of an audience and have a reign with it and have a successful title defense. That being said, story-wise, the way they got there, it essentially, his reign, when you think about it, was a poking of the bears type storyline. Like, you were done. You beat Cody, and Cody couldn't challenge for the title anymore, but yet he kept putting himself in Cody's business over and over and over, and then eventually you just knew it was going to lead to that match, and Cody ends up winning and gets the title back. With the way they put the storyline, I thought it would have made sense to have Drew versus Cody versus Jacob Fatu, because Cody and Jacob constantly were being screwed over, and then you could give Randy Orton in there because he won. You could have had a big fatal four-way, maybe incorporate Sammy, make a five-way. I thought the story would have strong enough. It would have made total sense for that at WrestleMania, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm thankful for the time that Drew did get with the title, and hey, Drew's definitely going to be making a lot of good money. He's got another Hollywood feature, Highlander movie reboot, so things for Drew, I know, will absolutely be okay, especially financially. And I guess they'll do Jacob versus Drew McIntyre, but I do look at this whole storyline like, man, if they wanted to, they could have used this as the potential to finally get Jacob Fatu the world title, because what I like about Jacob's push is he started off, he was very, I love you Solo, and was all about, Solo, but then we saw him break out on his own, and he got that US title run, and now you could put him in the world. I miss those build-ups where the guy would start off, or even the girl, they would start off, lower card, work themselves up to the mid card, get a mid card title, and then get that world title. So Jacob was in a position to do that, but I guess they're not going to go with that. As far as Cody Rhodes, maybe I just really wish Drew was in the main event, but as far as Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, this is a match that's been building for the last couple of years. I don't know how many teases of Randy looking over his shoulder. I hope they incorporate that into all the video packages, how many times he was looking over his shoulder for that title. And it's to be interesting to see the match. Is going to be, I think, much better than the King of the Ring match. So a lot of story with legacy, but it just goes to show you at the time frame we're in, because when they first had their match with Ted DiBiase Jr., the triple threat match, I was like, okay, one of these two guys got to win instead of Orton, because they're the future. Orton, of course, ended up winning, and I was like, oh man, but we're in a position now with the main events, Cody, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, the four of them, they are all four so established that it does not even matter who wins. Legitimately, I can, as fans of all four, I can just sit back and enjoy the match. Doesn't matter if Randy wins, because he's established with or without a 15 title. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. Whether Roman Reigns gets the world title or not, Roman Reigns is already established and has that historical world title reign that's not going to be outdone. Whether CM Punk wins or not, it's fine. CM Punk got what I thought has been a pretty good reign as WWE champion. I think Triple H has given me with CM Punk what I was hoping we were going to get out of CM Punk's reign back when Vince had him as champion for over 400 days. And then lastly, Cody Rhodes. If he wins, we already know what we're going to get. If not, it's fine. He's established. All four of these guys are established, so it doesn't matter who's wins. And I think that's the interesting thing heading into these main events at WrestleMania. So it's kind of like sit back, enjoy the good matches, and it doesn't do much to build the future, but at least, hey, all four of these guys are established.
I do agree with you there, Song. Now, before Elimination Chamber, I thought that the move that would have worked the best would have been LA Knight winning and challenging Drew, in Vegas. If LA Knight goes over, the Las Vegas Golden Knights is their hockey team, who's also a champion. Like, you could have done a lot with that. And you could have had heel Cody versus face Randy, which would have been big enough on its own without the title. You already have your big marquee match, so you don't have to make every match as packed as possible. When I say packed, I mean it's for the title. These guys have history, whatever, former friends, all this extra stuff, because you do have to. You can get mileage out of stuff without the championship, like Virtue said. It is essentially just a prop. Thank you, Song. Appreciate you. Now we're going to go over to Cactus Jeff Meacham. What are you thinking about all of this? I'm glad we got Drew, but, was this the right move?
Sorry about that. I don't know what to think about the WWE Championship. WWE Championship match at this point. I don't think Cody versus Randy needs the championship, but I also can see the point Virtue's been making throughout the stream tonight that, they want Cody and Roman to both be the top champions so they can promote Street Fighter as starring the WWE champions. Like that makes sense to me. So, God, I feel like Drew got shortchanged as WWE champion, but I also, God, I'm so torn, and I guess I'm rambling because of that. I don't know. I kind of disagree with what Son said in that it's interesting that they're doing it this way because, it doesn't matter what happens. I think that's the problem. It doesn't matter who wins either match. I think for me as a fan, I want it to matter if Cody regains, or Orton regains, Cody retains, or if Punk retains, or if Roman becomes world champion. Like, I want it to matter, and it doesn't feel like it's going to. I feel if you had LA Knight in the position, if you had Jacob Batu in this, it would be something to make people go, oh, okay, this is something different then. I feel like for me, these four guys being as entrenched as they are, established as they are, made men as they are, not really mattering who wins or loses hurts those title matches.
And thank you so much, Jeff. And yeah, Virtue, I believe that you are right that their idea is to have them be champions going into the movie release. But it's not like this is even a WWE Studios movie release. Like, I don't see how that necessarily helps WWE. It helps the people making the movie in Paramount. Maybe they're friends.
Ari Emanuel has connections in Hollywood, so they all scratch each other's back.
Okay.
It can dry. I know, Aaron's worry is Roman. Cody will be there every week, pretty much. Roman, hit and miss. But the fact if they were both champions, you could raise ticket prices at least, especially for the events that they do show up at. Maximize, gouge the fans more. Hey, our two champions are in this movie. Oh, by the way, they're going to be at Madison Square Garden. Even if it's just for a short period of time and, more dates for Cody than Roman. Dude, this is what this company is about now, to gouge the fans, and this is an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right?
And, I did think, to Aaron's point, to your point, to everybody's point, that it was weird that Roman didn't show up last night, but he's coming back next week, and so is Brock Lesnar. So they're like packing next week, but you could have had Roman come back this week and then take the next week off and have Brock. So they're packing and then they're being an underwhelming. Evan, we're going to throw it over to you. I know you're very opinionated. We look forward to hearing what you have to say based on everything we've had to say. I don't know how you feel about Drew having been champion, but we will see. Do you like what they decided to do? Does this make you more excited for WrestleMania, or are you wishing that they went in a different direction?
WWE has a very clear hierarchy, and Cody Rhodes is just much higher on the ladder than Drew McIntyre. I heard they were paying him $10 million a year, Cody Rhodes. So they're going to try to get back every penny they can off of that deal. And the fact that he's, going to be in a major motion picture as well. So you understand their rationale. I felt bad for Drew. I'm a big fan of Drew's. And, he had a 3-month, 9 title defense reign, which is comparable to a Tommy Rich, Stan Stasiak, Ivan Koloff, Iron Sheik, interim champion. He had 9 title matches. And it's kind of a shame because every time McIntyre goes in the ring, the guy gives 110% and puts on a good, very good, or great match. Now, the one way I kind of, apart from you guys, is I'm a bigger fan of Cody than it sounds like some of you guys are. I think, again, this guy, every time he goes in there, he puts his heart and soul in there, and he leaves it in the ring, unlike some of the WWE talent who do the same 5 moves, vanilla match each and every time they go out there. Cody works hard out there, and he puts on, quality matches. And, I like all these guys, McIntyre, Cody, Reigns when he has his, wrestling boots on. Again, as an old school fan, all I really care about is seeing a great match, and WWE's truly great matches are few and far between. I mean, you could take every pay-per-view of the year. If you have 2 handfuls of great matches, it's a lot. And it's a shame because this is an all-time great talent roster. All-time great. Mm-hmm. And to have so few truly great matches where it's all about the entrances, the sing-alongs, the catchphrases, the run-ins, and and if you're watching on TV, 2 sets of endless commercials killing the match dead. It's really not a service to the fans who are paying top dollar, whether they're live or watching on ESPN for $30 a month or whatnot. So that's a long-winded way of saying I just want a great match at WrestleMania. Whether it's Cody, McIntyre, a 3-way, whatever it ends up being, just put on a great match. The fans deserve it. They're paying good money for this.
100%, especially with the large increase from last year to this year with the ticket prices of WrestleMania. Again, I'm going to Backlash after WrestleMania, so I feel like I'm getting my money's worth for the price that I paid for that, about $163, not even knowing any of the matches. Now, hopefully what happens at WrestleMania leads to some greatness for us, NoDQ Florida chapter, as we will all be going together. Thank you so much, Evan, for that. Really appreciate it. Now I'm going to throw it over to Aaron and the Super Chats. Virtue has yet to hit an elbow drop on the leave button. Let's see how long we can coax him to stay along with us. Aaron, the floor is yours.
Well, let's see if he sticks around for my comments. We'll find out momentarily. Listen, I like Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is great. Virtue, you're going to leave? Wait, let's see if he leaves. I'm just going to keep complimenting Cody Rhodes till Virtue goes away. I think he's one of the greatest superstars in recent WWE history. I think he's earned his spot at the top. And regardless of what some of the internet thinks about him, he is a needle mover. WWE business has been red hot. Now, you could say it's because of Roman Reigns, but Cody's been there every week doing all of the personal appearances. He has been the company guy. And dare I say, he's the best to do it, arguably, since John Cena. I would like to see him maybe evolve his character a little bit. I don't think he's turning heel. I would be shocked if he does, but they can always play that card at some point. I hope people don't have high expectations for Randy Orton beating him at WrestleMania. My gut feeling is Cody will retain. I agree with Evan. I just want to see a great match with these guys. It's WrestleMania. Let them go out and have the best match possible. At the end of the day, if Cody beats Randy Orton, but it's a great match, then who cares who wins? I just want to be entertained, and I want them to give people the type of match that is deserving of the WrestleMania main event. Like, they should not phone it in and just have an average match. It's WrestleMania main event. It should be a match of the year, right? It's WrestleMania. So I agree with Evan on that. They got 5 or 6 weeks to build up WrestleMania with these guys. My fear is that it's going to be the usual stuff. They're going to talk about legacy. I'm just hopeful that they can come up with some ideas that are a little bit beyond what we're expecting, throw some curveballs at us and some twists and turns leading into WrestleMania, maybe even a tease of a heel turn. Maybe it doesn't happen, but I'd like to see some swerves and something that I'm not expecting on the road to WrestleMania. I want some bumps in the road and not just the obvious. They're going to talk about legacy and blah, blah, blah. We'll see how heated it gets. And they got 2 babyface versus babyface matches too. So at least for one, if not both of these storylines, we really need some more curveballs and some depth to these storylines rather than just the 2 babyface characters going at it. We need a little bit more diversity and something a little bit different. But anyways, let's get to the super chats here. We'll see how long Virtue sticks around. Sig282004 sent in a $5 super chat, but no comment. Feel free to leave a comment if you meant to leave one. I appreciate the super chat.
More money.
And so we're talking. I heard Evan earlier talking about guys with 5-6 moves. But what does Cody have? Cody Cutter, disaster kick, crossroads, the drop down, smack to the face, and maybe something else. And then it's all him taking everybody else's moves the whole match. Again, no different. They all most of the top guys only have about 5 or 6 moves.
True.
Yeah,
Same with Roman.
Like a Daniel Bryan or certain guys I cannot say that about, right? Because they have endless moves. But Cody's one of those, maybe he has 1 or 2 more than the other guys, maybe, but they're kind of similar, right? He always fights from underneath usually too.
LA Knight's pretty predictable. He does the same thing every match, and the fans love the guy.
Probably won't be doing that turnbuckle spot anytime soon, though.
Damn rope. Cursed.
Cursed. He got cursed.
Division cursed. Danhausen was there before he was even there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that spot was so unfortunate, Elimination Chamber, and I'm like, dang, and we really want him to stand out as a main eventer, so we can't have any points taken against him as is right now. We want to see him in the main event, man.
Right, but remember, Finn Balor also slipped on those same ropes earlier in the night, and Logan Paul said on his podcast that the ropes were more slippery than usual.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, that's the risk you take when you're jumping up backwards. Sometimes you're gonna lose your footing, and that's not the first time he's lost his footing, mind you. But I'm not here to trash on LA Knight, so we'll move on.
All right, Dave Scheffler sent in $5. Thank you, Dave. Virtue's gonna leave on Dave. He says they have to move to someone else's story. I'm dying on a hill with Gino that Cody needs a heel turn. Drew deserves a longer title run. Well, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that Drew McIntyre got the short end of the stick here with the short title run, but better than nothing. And he's still an upper card guy. He always will be in WWE. Cody Rhodes.
What Cody needs, like more than a heel turn, he needs to have one goddamn match with The Rock and finish that story. That's really what. If we got that, nobody would be bashing Cody being where he is. We'd be like, yes. Because somewhere along the way, that match went over precedent of Roman and Rock because of what they were doing. And then goddamn Rock and Triple H couldn't get along or whatever the hell happened, and Rock's gone now. That's what we need. That's what Cody needs. The Rock. One match. Just one match. Yep. It could be 15 minutes or less.
Yep, all that's right. One loose end they need to tie up. I agree with that 100%.
I mean, The Rock could come back, cost Cody at night 1, and then cost Punk at night 2, and then his movie Moana live action comes out in the summer in July. So,
going to Hollywood, going to that next level. Rock's got to trump him at some point.
That's right.
All right. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. Says, here we go. Imagine Randy Orton burning down Cody Rhodes' trailer, Cody breaking into Randy Orton's house, have giant bugs on the ring and a box-like structure showing up at WrestleMania.
Dude, even at $5. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
I just want to say, I think Psycho's new gimmick is to be sending in legitimate super chats to see how long he can get Virtue to stay.
Right.
Instead of sending in the bad super chat.
Hey, I'll just say, peace, Virtue, if you do end up leaving us. Nice talking with you again.
Always good to see you, Virtue.
One that's super unnecessary, and then I'm out of here.
Yeah.
One more.
I mean, legit, if we get giant bugs on a ring again, like WrestleMania 33, I might just quit. Legit.
I was there for that WrestleMania, and we did not know what the heck was going on. We had to look up the Tron, and everybody's like, oh, but then it just comes back on, and we're like, what was the point of that?
It's one of those, if Orton's next world title main event at WrestleMania has some snake bit bullshit like the last two, then they might as well just quit on him. Because he had a main event match with Hunter that got pigeonholed by a not being no holds barred, and then that nonsense with Bray. He has to have a decent outing on the main event, or he's it's whatever. God, it's so stupid.
Hey, though, I'll say props to WWE because they have consistently over the years been able to keep Randy Orton having a good build up for his WrestleMania matches, at least having it have a hot start every year. So props to them on that.
Yeah, yeah. The builds have been great. The execution, yeah.
All right, we got one here. We got two left, Virtue. Let's see if you can hang on here. If he keeps sending them, then I totally understand if you want to bow out. So Psycho Jet Black says, what will Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, and Jacob Fatu do at WrestleMania?
Thank you all so much for watching this week.
What the hell was
The
that?
hell?
What was that?
Somebody knows what that was.
All right, we'll get back to that in just a moment. See, Virtue, you got to stick around.
So
Jet Black, let's get to a super chat. Sami Zayn, maybe Trick Williams, I think, is something.
Yeah. It'll be him and Trick. It'll be Drew and Jacob against each other for what happened on Friday.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu, and then Sami Zayn most likely against Trick Williams would be my best guess at this point.
Yes.
All right, we got one more here, and then I got a little surprise for everyone.
What the hell?
Psycho Jet Black sent it a $2 super chat, says, thoughts on AEW having its own streaming service? Well, it's international. It's not in the US.
Yeah, if it's available here, great.
Yeah, I mean, you were sending in $5 for the other super chats, and you sent in 2 because you knew the quality of that one. I mean, it's good for AEW fans with a VPN that live in the United States, but
Yes.
As a fan of the WWE Network back in the day, I mean, like, if there's something like that for AEW fans, the more the merrier, because without AEW, we don't maybe even get American Nightmare Cody Rhodes back in WWE, or CM Punk for that matter. So,
and if it's international, especially because the WWE Network, from what I understand, is completely going away on April 1st. Like, all the remaining ones that are still active are going to be going away completely. So good on them if they can get an international service, and we don't have one for WWE. So cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a positive for the AEW fan base, people that are able to get access to it.
Yep.
All right. We're all caught up. So before we do the plugs, I got to throw this up real quick. You guys requested it, or Virtue did specifically. So here we go. Ready, Jeff?
Thank you all so much for watching this week's episode of the No DQ Review. Time for dinner.
What happened to my legs? First
they
of all,
came back.
They
after
came
you
back
crashed.
as soon as you hit.
Double amputee.
God,
That is
this is why AI will never officially take over the world, because all of a sudden my legs disappear and reappear. There you go. There you go. Holy shit.
Dang.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
Broken
I
leg.
promise that will not be the case if I'm on the scooter next week. I will have better control of my driving ability. I promise.
Would be the one though to be double amputee in that video, crash and still break your legs.
Yeah.
Right? No, I would. That would totally be me. 100%. That would be my damn luck. Murphy's
Are we
Law.
going to
Your
get
legs
Brock
back just to
Lesnar
break
pushing
him?
him down the stairs in the scooter like he did Zach Allen?
I'll work on that one next.
Okay. So
All
next
right,
week,
guys, we're going to
everybody-
go around and do our plugs. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Virtue, for sticking with us. I will throw it over to you first, my man, Virtue. Where can the people find you?
X at NoDQ _Virtue. And that's it. And then I'll be moderating next week.
Yep.
There's your
Yes, sir.
night 2 main event. Should be, anyway.
You called it.
Yeah. Subscribe if you dare.
Yep.
God, I live for the if you dare. So thank you for that.
I haven't been putting as much political satire on there lately on any social media with the other things going on in the world right now. I'm taking a little break because I know it pisses people off. So
Well, we appreciate that, Search Roll Slayer. You are very generous and kind with it. Thank you. So we'll throw it over now to Song. Song, thank you so much for joining us. Glad we were able to get you back on, the rare appearance that you're able to make. Always a pleasure. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, it's been awesome, guys. So yeah, you can check out my main YouTube channel, which is very focused on Dragon Ball. And so yeah, currently I'm going to be breaking down soon, especially in a live stream, about the new Dragon Ball anime announcements, as well as the new Dragon Ball gaming content. And I'll be soon starting up streaming again. Currently playing the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero game. So yeah, definitely a good time. You can come over there. And then on my Son Goshoku Wrestling channel, I will have a review and ranking up for both nights of WrestleMania. So definitely look forward to that on my WWE channel. You can also, of course, follow me there on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, NoDQ, it has been an absolute pleasure. Great to come here and talk wrestling with you all. I'm glad I was able to make this rare appearance, and I certainly will be back next time I get a chance to. Probably definitely wrestle after WrestleMania. So yeah, let's looking forward to see where the road to WrestleMania takes us. But that being said, yeah, absolute pleasure. And guys, remember to always support NoDQ.
Thank you, Song. Now we'll throw it over to Jeff, who has recently healed his 2 broken legs. Cactus Jeff Meacham, where can the people find you?
You can find me on the Greg Cherry Show tomorrow night, right here on the NoDQ Review next week on April 4th, interviewing Izzy Moreno as part of the Simple Bible Studios, and back with Greg Cherry to cover WrestleMania on a live watch along for both nights on April 18th and 19th.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Jeff. Now we have author, documentarian, producer, Evan, wrestling historian. Where can the people find you?
Thank you. Yours truly, the associate producer of The Wrestler in 350 Days. I write about that experience in my book, Wrestling Rings, Blackboards, and Movie Sets, and my new book, Grindhouse, Art House, and Wrestling Flicks. Also, check out 350 Days, and yours truly, the senior editor over at ProWrestlingStories.com. And our podcast is Wrestling and Everything Coast to Coast.
That's right, everybody. Go subscribe to these wonderful gentlemen. And thank you, everybody in the chat, for commenting along, whether you're watching live or on demand. For Aaron. Aaron, where else can the people find you?
Just anywhere on NoDQ social media, and make sure you buy a shirt. You can get Virtue's ORM shirt and the official NoDQ review t-shirt over at nodq.com/merch. And that's it. Thank you guys again for a great stream tonight. And we'll be back next week with more fun. And I'm not sure if we're going to have the adventures of Big G and Jeff Jarrett or the adventures of Jeff Meacham on the scooter, or both, but you'll have to tune in next week to find out. So see you guys then. Have a great one.
A little crossover. And you can find me at Papagino0017 on YouTube. We'll go check it out. Noah and I will be breaking down the predictions for AEW. We broke down the predictions for Elimination Chamber. Catch us doing all that stuff in my show tomorrow night. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Peace.